random hotline. Sorry, we missed your call.
Welcome to Pyst Calls with the Farmer Randoms. It's me, Ditzy Info Mutation, the parody home game version of myself. Welcome, everyone. It's Pyst Calls. Blog Pissin, how are you doing?
I'm Blog Pissin. Just like Riven, but the sequel. Oh, sorry, just you know what I meant.
And I'm Phony Calls. You might remember me from the Weird Al song.
Of course. I was watching a British game show called Only Connect, which is famously one of the most difficult British quizzes. And on a music round, they played a clip of the Weird Al song Bob. And when they did, I knew the answer to the question was all of the song titles in the sequence were palindromes. And none of them recognized it. And I'm like, it's entirely made of palindromes, what they mentioned. So I'm like, Weird Al's made it. He's a question on one of the toughest game shows. He's a legend.
I mean, yeah, and to think that he lost on Jeopardy that one time.
He did. He lost on Jeopardy, but he's halfway to an EGOT.
That's true.
That's a good point.
I firmly believe that he could work on a Tony award-winning musical if it was like Weird Al and like Lin-Manuel Miranda or like Robert Lopez. Like, you know, I mean, he could do it by himself too. But if you like power teamed him with like a Broadway composer, holy shit, that'd be amazing.
I mean, I would totally watch a jukebox musical of Weird Al songs.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god!
I mean, and the plot for Weird would be perfect for that.
True.
That would be true. You'd have to. It'd be like the ending of the play version of Network. You'd have to see Weird Al gunned down somehow on stage. Ditzy did see the James Acaster Ghostbusters photo, and he's playing like their version of Q, and I freaked the fuck out. I'm like, oh, he's not going to be a minor part. He's going to be like a major part. People might be able to go buy James Acaster action figures, which fucks my brain. It's so funny.
That's wild to think about.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. He's needed a breakout because he is just a very funny dude.
So sorry, I'm a little distracted. You see, you caught us during Games Done Quick.
Games Done Quick.
Got one of my Games Done Quick shirts on tonight for
I said it
Blue
last
Shell Roadside Assistance, and right now I am watching someone play Super Mario 64.
Mamma mia!
16-star drum percent run. So what he's doing is he's got a drum set, a literal drum set that is set up in a way that each drum does a different input to play Mario 64.
So each drum is essentially a button.
Oh, I did not see the dog speed runner. Was that earlier today? I've missed a lot of GDQ this week. So please inform me about the dog. Also, I don't have it here near me, but as you've seen before, my case that I have my computer in has different stickers on it, including a happy sticker. And today a little toddler pointed at it and went, "It's a doggy." And we were like confused, and we look over, and I'm like, "Oh, that is a doggy."
It makes me wish I had the Mary's dog is named Happy pop up.
Oh my word. We need as a community too. I didn't realize that we could get emotes added as easily as we could, because last night we added our newest emote, of course, the Sovereign Glut from Baldur's Gate emote, which only leads to my brain for thinking more. So I think we need to talk about some canonical emotes we can do, one of which has to be, we need a phony emote. Like, you're a legend. We need to be able to spam you
I am pretty
within
iconic.
the chat. Yes.
I'm also from a royalty-free photo, so that works out great.
Hell to the yeah. Now, audience, blog, phony, parody games. Did you grow up playing any specific parody games? And if so, which ones? Share your experience.
I mean, I grew up with Star Warped pretty in depth. The Star Wars parody game from the makers of Pyst.
I know we've seen some clips of it before. I think, was it the fighter, like the stage fighter level that we
with
saw?
cool handless Luke.
Yes.
Nice.
And the pun that we couldn't figure out for a while, and then realized it was based off an Italian stereotype, and we're like, oh no.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that was a fun realization.
Humor didn't land. Doesn't always age well.
I realized that was my introduction to Brian Posehn because he was one of the voices in it. No, it was Pizza Flipping Greedo.
Oh.
And I was like, what a fun non sequitur. Why would they associate Greedo with pizza flipping? Yeah. And it was like, oh.
Wiz caught on very quick.
I mean, I think that's what Dexter is.
We were just sitting there looking at it, going it over and over, and then Phony was like, oh, I think I figured it out. I'm like, oh, okay.
There was like a G.I. Jane Leia because it was the 90s.
Oh yes, of course. My brain was trying to think of the context again because we were talking about action figures earlier. So my brain was like just thinking about what an action figure would look like if it was G.I. Jane Leia. I grew up playing the Space Quest series of games, which was Sierra Software games.
Right, of course.
They were sort of like, they had its own world and its own world building, but it was all just like jokes. Like your main character is a janitor.
Yeah, but we watched you play some of that. We had those scary things that would come up at the top. People that would show at the top of the screen and would still catch you if you're at the bottom of the screen.
The fifth game of the series is an explicit parody of Star Trek. And don't think I'm not going to have a future stream where we're going to play that game and have Captain Emily watch along so she can point out every single Star Trek reference within the game. But yeah, that was kind of like the biggest one that I had was the Space Quest series.
Oh yeah, like they're so iconic. It didn't fully occur to me that they would be that they were.
Because they're parodies of something, but they're not a parody of another game.
Because they're also full of parodies of space tropes or specific space things. So that's the weirdness of it, is that the game itself has like genuine puzzles and actual mechanics, and it makes sense. But then it also is just like nothing is serious and everything's a joke, except for the fact that you can die a bunch, but even you dying is exactly part of the joke. It even just makes fun of the fact that you die within different adventure games all the time.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, one of the VR.
He missed the bunny. He missed the Mitzi. Oh, he got it now. Which everyone grew up with Mario 64. That was the most frustrating thing in the game.
Manic Mansion, I would also argue, was a parody too.
And of course, he's doing the skip where you grab the Mitzi and use that to get into the door at the basement to get through the 30-star door. I can't remember how many stars you need to get in that one.
What's a Mitzi?
And then and then that was how they went from you needed because originally you needed 70 stars to beat the game. But then they figured out how you can get through the endless staircase, and that was then like 50-star. And then with this skip, they were now able to beat Mario 64 with only 16 stars.
Ooh. So it's not a complete all-star run. It's just a...
So it's 16-star, but as a result, I mean, it's, through what the game allows you to do, actually, I mean, there's also 0 1 star now, but you collect 16 stars, and then that allows you to get through to the very top of the final Bowser fight.
There you
Wow.
go. And then you just nail that. And they're
And
playing.
you just see Bowser.
They're
So
playing
he's
with
got
the
15 stars right now. So, I mean, he's less than 16 minutes into this run. It's always funny watching these speed runs because I imagine a side by side of them and then me, and where it's like it'd be like, okay, at this point I got my first star, you know.
Mhm.
So it seems
What-
like they've missed the record already.
Oh, I'm sure they meant. Oh,
Well, on the drums, I guess. Perhaps not.
oh, right,
There's-
because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the drum record would be, but the oh no, he just died.
Oh,
I mean, it's not that bad. He was at the beginning of the fire.
he's playing with the bongos, right?
No, it's a full on drum set.
Oh, drum set. Okay.
So, but they're like, it's like he's got a snare drum, he's got a bass drum, and you can hear it. You can actually hear the
Oh,
drumming
that's
of what
cool.
he's doing. Oh no, he might die again. He just died again.
But Mario is, of course, also the subject of many parody games because there was all the weird Mario parody like ROMs and stuff that you'd see online.
That's true. Like all those Flash animation games.
Exactly, yeah. Newgrounds was home to
Mhm.
so many Mario parodies.
Yeah, that's Flash parody games is like an entire wormhole that I think would have to be its own subject because there's just too much you could dive down into. It's like the Wild West of parody games.
Oh yeah, Pal World does look like a Pokemon parody. Are you familiar with Pal World?
That's the one where it's creatures with guns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's absolutely a parody of Pokemon, and I can't remember who pointed it out. It was someone in the Discord that they look like better quality 3D models than what the Pokemon 3D games themselves actually have. And I don't think they're wrong.
Okay,
and those
so
guns are
now
very high res.
He is at the Bowser 2 fight then, right? There's gotta be Bowser 2.
I was gonna say imagine a Mario gun game, but then I remembered Yoshi Safari exists, and that just is the thing.
There you go.
Two items. A, there was definitely a Flash animation game I played where you were Mario, but you had a shotgun. And B, originally, canonically, Mario was supposed to. I can't believe I'm saying Mario correctly, which is the incorrect way to say it. But Mario.
Instead of Mario.
Instead of Mario, everyone knows it's pronounced Mario.
Ugh.
That's what we called him in the 90s. That's his true name.
That's not what I called him in the 90s.
Well, you're wrong. His name's Mario.
Never.
Anyway,
there's actually a YouTube video all about the Mario pronunciation, and it's very interesting because the whole thing stems from Japanese having a sound that doesn't cleanly translate and is between two syllabic things we have.
See, I can't tell which way you mean.
Oh, Mario instead of that weird East Coast Mario.
But here's the thing. I mean, Mario's Italian, but he's really from Brooklyn. So, he's from the East Coast.
Luigi Mario?
It's Mario.
Okay.
I think it's Let's Go, actually.
Let's go. Well, that's the thing. Then in this game, this is the first game where we heard Mario and he became Mario.
Is it Wario?
Remember when Chris Pratt voiced
Definitely
Mario?
Wario. Yeah, Mario, Luigi. I don't know how.
Wario is the weird. Sounds so much weirder to me than Mario. But yeah, I remember when Chris Pratt voiced Mario.
Do you remember when Chris Pratt's gonna voice Garfield?
Oh yeah, he is.
Really?
He's Garfield.
He died.
And I'm sure he spent a lot of time perfecting his Garfield voice, just like he said for his Mario voice.
And do you know what within the trailer canonically is what Garfield sees John eating through the window on the first time that they make eye contact before he assumably gets adopted? What do you think it is?
Oh, I saw the trailer and got weirdly emotional around it, so I understand.
I did see this too because it was in the trailer.
Okay. Yeah, it was
Hi,
just
Hunter.
but here's my problem. It should have been fucking lasagna.
It
What?
is.
How did you blow that?
It's not. I know.
And then the next scene, they give him lasagna in the pan, but I'm like, no, it's the love of lasagna. That would be the bond. And then you can even write it in as like a plot point or something.
Oh, I got very off track, but I was going to say is that originally, you can look this up.
I
Instead
forgot what you're talking about.
of shooting fireballs, Mario was supposed to have a gun.
There we go. Perfect with Pal Worlds. Mario was going to have a gun.
He was supposed to have a gun, and they also wanted Yoshi in the original game, but they couldn't get him graphically.
They're also worried about animating him getting gunned down.
They couldn't get him. He was too big. He was too big of a star. They had to wait a few games before they could get Yoshi. Okay, so here he is at the final Bowser fight.
That's a good point. You could look at our party from Baldur's Gate because I forgot to change the category.
Oh, amazing.
Uh-oh.
Our run is almost a parody of a Baldur's Gate run at this point.
Baldur's Gate.
Oh, make all your characters bald. Now, there is a game that the layers of what this is amusing to me because it is both a game that I'm assuming has some parody stuff in it, but is based off of a show which just made parodies, and it's going to have two of our friends, I believe, in it. If I can look at the present button, there we go. It's the Spitting Image video game, which, of course, the Spitting Image TV show was puppets that made fun of the British society, American politics, all that kind of stuff. And I believe you would be able to have those characters be in there. I mean, you have Ronald Reagan as one of them. I don't think you necessarily have the ability to play Prince Charles, but I'm assuming that he is somewhere within the things. But yes, Rotten Ronnie is one of the characters that you are able to play.
Nice.
It really feels like that. When did this one come out? I can't quite see.
It is 1989.
Okay. It feels like, that 80s and 90s is like the sweet spot for parody games getting released in stores. Because like Hypnotics, so we talked about Pyst, which was parody interactive. But Hypnotics had a similar run because they did Who Wants to Beat Up a Millionaire, which was, of course, a millionaire parody. They had Deer Avenger, which was a deer hunter parody.
Yes. You are clicking off tabs that I had ready to go on here. I remembered the Who Wants to Beat Up a Millionaire
I do too.
parody, like just the case of it. And even then I was like, this seems in poor taste and very violent to just have a character where it's beating.
I love that it's Simon and Schuster though.
It was so fucking weird.
Published by Simon and Schuster Interactive.
So,
I mean,
he did it. He beat the game. He beat the game on the drums.
And how close was he to beating the record?
Sorry, what was that?
How close was he to beating the record?
Probably not very close.
Okay.
He did get under his estimate, which usually they have a pretty lenient estimate for GDQs. So he did it in 23 minutes and 6 seconds, which is certainly faster than I can do it on a regular controller. Although with the N64 controller, the drums might be a better controller.
Do you remember Outlaw Golf?
Vaguely.
No, I don't.
It was like edgy early 2000s golf game, also by Hypnotics, also Simon and Schuster Interactive.
We can't go down
volleyball.
We can't go down a Simon versus Schuster wormhole, or can we?
I mean, that might be another episode because they also did Starship Titanic,
Oh,
which
interesting.
came up last week.
Who was the funny fuck that was running Simon and Schuster at that point? Who was just like, yeah, we need to do comedy.
Well,
Comedy's big right now.
They
It's
did,
the
yeah,
90s.
the Martian Chronicles video game and Who Wants to Beat Up a Millionaire within 5 years of each other.
Brilliant.
Well, I
Brilliant.
did. Wouldn't say it's a parody game, but I did play Starship Titanic, which was very fun and funny game, which I got nowhere in, like most of those types of games.
Oh, and surprisingly, no, Outlaw Tennis wasn't Simon and Schuster.
Wow.
I'm
That
devastated.
was Global Star Software, and Stephen Colbert was the voice of the game's announcer.
Nice.
Get that work? The Sim Hospital game had a lot of humor in it. Like all of the diseases that people caught
Oh,
are like parodies of diseases and things like that, or like punny things. Like one of them is you can have like an oversized head and they just have to pop your head like a balloon and then reflate it. There's things where I think you can come in and you're like dressed like a clown and
Wait.
you have to like go to a psychologist and you're not a clown anymore.
Was this Theme Hospital? Or
Theme Hospital. Well, Sim Hospital and Theme Hospital are the same thing.
oh, okay.
It was branded differently, but then they eventually started calling it Theme Hospital. And now there's essentially a remake called 2 Points Hospital, I believe.
Huh.
I think I have it. Yeah,
I
2
didn't
Point Hospital.
consider shareware CD-ROMs before, I definitely played some parody games. It's hard to remember any of them. I do remember one where the game was called Beer, and it was just like Space Invaders, but you were beer that shot other bottles of beer. I would love to.
Shot in what sense?
So it was like Space Invaders. So
Right.
so you were like like a beer bottle avatar, flying upward, and you would shoot, I guess, like bottle caps, and you would kind of go left and right and
I
shoot
see.
the
Interesting.
other beers, and they played funny sound bits, and like they would burp. You'd hear burping a lot, and they would play a lot of Carmen, and that's just one of those things where I'm like, does anyone have memory of this? Like how widespread of this was this? This is just on a
Play a
CD
lot of
I had of a bunch of random games.
Play a lot of Carmen in like San Diego, or Carmen the Opera played a lot.
Oh,
within
Carmen the
San Diego.
Opera.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Because Carmen San Diego, all of the villain names, we talked a little bit about this recently. All of them are very like parody or pun based names that essentially could just go through the list. But yeah, the Vile Henchmen's names always were very titillatingly funny to me.
And
Well,
I don't
what
know.
doesn't look titillatingly funny is this game Wiz pointed out, the Improv presents Don't Quit Your Day Job.
Oh no. Yes, and
We're trying to book an up-and-coming comedian.
oh no. Someone just like got all of their actual existential frustrations about the career that they're in and put it all in a video game and said, look, entertainment.
We started talking about parody games, but we then drifted a little off course.
Yeah, it's because like there's only so many parody games that exist. But there are a lot that we're still sitting on, including technically the game Clay Fighter. Started out as one.
Oh,
That did
true,
well.
I thought it was
true.
interesting that they included Clay Fighter.
So I
mean,
cannot find this.
Oops, not that one.
I'm still trying to find proof of this Beer Space Invaders shoot 'em up game.
Oh, that's a terrible
I'm pretty
photo.
sure that CD I had of a bunch of like shareware and freeware games. I think that's also how I played Indiana Jones, the City of Atlantis, the Lost City of Atlantis.
I've actually never played that. I would love to try
I
this.
haven't either. I did play a lot of Clay Fighter, though.
I played a lot of Street Fighter, Clay Fighter.
Who is your gang? Who is your boys?
The
Who'd you
Blob.
pick?
I loved, yeah, mine was the Blob, too.
Blob's the best one.
And, I mean, and I didn't play that much C2 Judgment Clay. But I
Well,
played
you
a
know
lot
what?
of 63 and a third and 63 and a third Sculptor's Cut.
I was gonna say
Mhm.
Sculptor's Cut. That's worth a lot of money because it was a Blockbuster exclusive
Yeah,
where you could play as Earthworm Jim and Lockjaw
and
Let's
Booger Man.
and Booger
let's do
Man.
that.
And I remember feeling very like starstruck that Booger
Ooh,
Man was in
Santa.
the game because he was obviously such a big deal.
Well, I mean, same for me, but with Earthworm Jim.
Who's Booker Man?
Ooh,
We're going down
oh,
this wormhole.
well, there you go.
He starred in a platformer called Booger Man, and he
Booger
was kind
Man.
of like a parody of a superhero.
And
He
then
used Booger and yeah, exactly. It was the star of a pick
Oh.
and flick adventure, and he used Booger and fart powers.
I was just gonna say I'm not supposed to take Booger Man's skills all that seriously. Okay.
And he was a rival of Earthworm Jim, which I thought was interesting because they're not in each other's games at all, to my knowledge.
Yeah, that is just sort of like, we're the same company, so why not?
Yeah, that might be how I learned what a kiln was, because of Dr. Kiln.
Oh, that's very funny. It's educational as well as entertaining.
Or I mean, I
ah,
probably knew because I played the original Clay Fighter very young.
I mean, I know everyone liked the first Toe Jam and Earl best, but I only owned the Panic on Funkatron, and I love that game.
What is Toe Jam and Earl?
Oh man,
It was another it was
another
a
Genesis
game.
exclusive.
Oh,
Which had some real '90s attitude.
Yeah.
ooh, what was all the toot about?
Well, on
could,
the cover, one of them is saying "jammin'," and the other one's wearing sunglasses and swim trunks.
Ruby.
Ooh, that is so. It's just like a
Oh, you go
surfing grandma.
Funkatron, and you go into the
Yeah.
funky dimension,
Well, first it's called Toe Jam and Earl.
and you can.
I mean, that is
you can,
that
you
is.
can ring the
Thank you, thanks
doorbells
from the
and
void.
then run away, and then they're like, and you had to capture humans in jars, because they
I don't know
got
what I was
loose on the
thinking.
planet of Funkatron.
I missed that Toe Jam and Earl had retroactively been declared a roguelike, and I find it very funny.
Oh my god!
Wow, well, it is.
It
That's
is. It
exactly what
totally is.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I just associate that genre with far more like seriousness often.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Did you ever have one of those games that like you knew you weren't going to be able to play because you just kind of knew at your age, you're like, this is a naughty game or like an adult game. Like there's content in here that I probably am not like old enough for, but you also were like intently curious on what it could be. That game for me was Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course. And that's a parody. Well, it's a
Yeah.
parody of
Mm-hmm.
movies.
Well, and a parody of their other previous games, like
Yeah.
the Banjo-Kazooie and that one Donkey Kong game.
Well, and it's
But-
funny because famously Conker is in Diddy Kong Racing as like a
Mhm.
straightforward kids mascot character.
That's his origin story.
It's because they knew kids were playing this. They knew there were some parents out there who don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I never played it. I was so curious, but I never got to play it, and I'm sure it
Mhm.
doesn't hold up super great.
I saw someone starting to play it when I was like at that age where my friends were like, "Hey, you should like just don't care about the fact that your parents don't want you to watch this. Like, you can just like watch me play the game; it'll be fine." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't want to go to hell." And hilarious. And then I would just watch it and be like, "Oh, this is my parents just being overprotective because this really isn't that bad at all."
That definitely opened up a memory for me where I remember, let's say, 5th grade. I remember my friend being really excited to show me do because there's the part where you can tip a stripper and you can see
Yeah.
like pixelated 8-bit yeah.
Kids these days don't understand how hard it was to get virtually horny back in the day. Like
It's
we didn't get the Lawnmower Man promise. We didn't get virtuosity. We got none of that. But what we did get was sex.
It's also weird though that I was able to at a like amusement park play a VR version of Duke Nukem 3D as a child.
Fucking hilarious.
And they were just like, "Oh, this is fine."
Yep.
Well, and speaking of which, I don't know if you call these parodies, but Doom had so many ROMs, and I remember I would play. There was one where it was like Simpsons characters, and one where it was like Beavis and Butthead, and one where like Barney was like the cyber demon. And really, when you think about it, Star Wars released a parody game of Doom. Oh my god.
This is a Simpsons one.
For a split second, I thought this was the Star Wars one. And I was like, why are you shooting Mo in Star Wars? I'm confused. Is he Darth Mo?
This is the Star Wars one. I love Dark Forces.
I forgot to set this up.
And,
ladies and gentlemen, go ahead.
Oh, just only reason I learned is I always assumed that Dark Forces used the Doom engine, but it didn't, because of course it's George Lucas, so they did actually design their completely own unique engine, which allowed for something that Doom didn't have, like jumping.
For it. That'll be fine.
LucasArts rarely did things the easy way.
Yeah. Well, someone already made all of it and basically made it open source. No, I'll just do it again.
I kind of agree with Wiz that killing off LucasArts killed off video gaming as art.
Wow.
That's not wrong.
Like, when they were like, oh, we're doing a Star Wars tie-in game. Let's do an advanced physics model so that you can throw people through doors and walls.
Yeah. Let's make an extended universe with its own characters that can, like, include classic characters with storylines. No, you know what? That's fine. We don't need that anymore. Although I guess I haven't played Force Unleashed, and that does have its own canon and everything.
Well, that was LucasArts. That was one of the last LucasArts hurrahs. But yeah, it has its own canon. It has alternate universes where you go evil and kill Luke Skywalker.
When did they kill off LucasArts? Because I feel like there was another Dark Forces game that came out, but maybe it's just by a different company.
They were both. They just did the remake of the original with Lucasfilm.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it is then.
2021 is like when the LucasArts name was retired, but it was gone already a little bit before that. Squadrons in VR seemed very cool. I didn't play it in VR, but
I didn't. But I remember seeing that announced and being like, "Oh, that's gonna be it. That's gonna be me getting into VR."
Y'all getting into this VR stuff. I'm just telling you, you're going to enter the simulation one day and you're going to get out and you're not going to know what's real and you're going to be so confused. And guess what? That's the life that you have to live now.
Do you know the name of the engine for Dark Forces?
Is it? Ooh. I'm assuming it's something like clever.
Is it?
I don't know.
Oh no. Okay. What is it?
Is it blue?
It's not Watto.
It's not Watto. No, I was gonna say, was it? What was the secret name for?
Blue Harvest.
It's not the Scum engine.
Blue Harvest.
They did make the Scum engine, but that was later.
Oh, interesting.
It was the Jedi engine.
Oh, but you know what? There you go. That actually makes sense.
Also,
there is a parody game that exists that I do want to get a little game going in here. Then Alina said they
Scum
missed
was
having
earlier.
a guessing.
Scum was Maniac Mansion.
Oh yeah. Scum was the not rival, but it was basically the other like programming software besides the Sierra Online one that people use to make games.
Wow,
for the most part,
that's a lot of games.
Wiz is pointing out the title insanity of the Dark Forces series.
Yes, it's wild. It is just like a sequentially thing of nonsense because they keep spinning off the subtitles of other things.
Yeah.
And see, that's what you meant by that. Yep.
Yeah.
There is a parody of Mavis Beacon teaches typing that exists. It is blank blank teaches typing. And I'll give clues throughout the night, but I want some general takes out there. Who do you think someone might make a parody game about where it's blank blank teaches typing?
Jeez Whiz.
Oh no! It's a Fuck Quest. Fuck Quest is a game that exists, a softcore or I don't know, horrorcore, like sexual adventure game where it's like the adventure games in the era where you had to like click and there was no
Man, Nightbot just taking the week off, huh? Some of the language it's letting by.
I mean, they know Mavis Beacon is down to clown.
Oh,
it's not someone nearly that controversial. I'll give you sort of that thing. It's sort of like more of a weird figure in a lot of ways to pick for it. But yeah, it's not like trying to be, I think,
Emo
healthy.
Phillips, Mr. Butterfingers.
Is it Helen Keller?
No, it's not nearly that. Like trying to go for that pun or clever. It's a weird individual that they pick. It's. Oh my god! This is why I wanted this. God. I want all these ideas for different.
The NBA basketball player David Robinson taught basic coding in a video game.
Oh my god! Was that something he was just like interested in outside?
Oh man,
of his,
I think he just got paid to do it.
That's actually very fair. So
really, like we are basically this show is having basically right where my favorite things on GDK. Right next week we have Taskbot.
Oh, sorry, it was David Robinson's teammate. Might be Tim Duncan who did basic. Where is it? I'm gonna try to find this stupid game I played and didn't learn basic from.
I'll say that the person who is the blank blank teaches typing, they are involved with movies, mostly behind the scenes, typing. But they also do some behind the scene camera work. No, but that you're in the right field of guessing the type of person. It is a director that you're in that area.
Alfred Hitchcock teaches typing.
You're getting closer. You're getting if this was a warmer or colder, I would say warmer.
Fellini.
Kind of weird like that in his own way. I'll give it his.
Quentin Tarantino teaches typing.
This might have been because he was having a TV show resurgence of the basically only TV show that I think he worked on. Where he
David Lynch teaches typing?
David Lynch teaches typing is the name of the game.
What?
Nice.
Yes. Oh shoot, I need to get it pulled up. It's somehow the tab got closed.
So up next on GDQ, we've got Taskbot plays Super Metroid. So we got
this was
robot.
a 2018 game.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was like in like a resurgence of because of
the Return.
The miniseries of Return. Yeah.
Obviously there's many
things the return key to start a new line.
There's many things to think of when you think of David Lynch, but for the first thing I think of, which makes me laugh, is his comments on kind of like film going to digital, and he's like the fact that you watched a movie on your phone disgusts me. He's just like absolutely disgusted at people can watch his movie on little phone.
All right, kiddo. Use your right index finger, push down the J key. Asserting he will assist the player as a guide through the magical world typing, a likeness of David Lynch instructs the players to input various characters on the keyboard. Following simple prompts, press F and J. Lynch instructs the players to press their fingers on the undulating bug next to the keyboard, of which the players fail to do so causes the game to temporarily crash. After being instructed by Lynch to press the A key, a series of disturbing images and sounds ensue, causing the game to end. It is revealed the game is a trial product for a full product, which Lynch instructs the players to acquire by going to the nearest bathtub and making smacking noises with their hands until someone assists you. This is definitely like a quick little art house project of a game. But yes, I'm just happy that it exists. I know one that got memed at the time during the rise, I would say, peak of you go ahead and
Yeah,
show
this is the actual page. That typing tutor you like is coming back in style. Help raise your
Beautiful.
words per minute with the only softening software that's wild at heart and weird on the top. David Lynch teaches typing. In the full version, you will learn home row, upper row, lower row, number pad, and more. David Lynch voices impersonated. The game is a parody and in no way endorsed or affiliated with the real David Lynch.
Good to know.
Because if he knew that you were teaching young ladies how to type.
So I'm surprised at the parody.
I'm adding the words "the musical" onto it just so that I'm under the right law.
Considering that he's, was a frequent voice actor in the Cleveland show, I just figured he would sign his name off of for a typing game.
Don't use what you learned to write Dune.
It is just like holistically weird that they got him, like David Lynch, to be on the Cleveland show, and also Patrick Stewart to be on American Dad.
Oh yeah,
you just think they don't have enough time for that. Well, it's less weird, but it's just like you think of people who you're like, I guess it's not that much time, but also like, I assume you're too busy. You should be, doing some sort of Shakespeare production somewhere.
No, but he can just like hop in a closet, record his
dialogue.
Know,
it's so easy now. Yes. Hello, I'm here at home, just recording lines for you.
Yeah, David Lynch's YouTube was especially at its peak, where like in lockdown, he was doing it every single day, where he did lucky numbers and weather reports by just looking out his window.
Oh, he used to call into a certain radio show doing the weather reports. It's a bit that he's been doing for years.
Oh, wow.
I can't remember what it was, but it was someone's like morning show included the David Lynch weather report. Let me get it real quick. And I think it must be the same thing where he just talks about what he sees outside.
It was like interesting. It makes sense. Yeah. Okay. The Royal Meteorological Society says he began it on the LA radio station Indie 103.1 FM.
Yep, because it's the same one that Scott Aukerman started with for comedy Death Ray.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
apparently
I think,
Timothy Oliphant was on it regularly, too, doing a sports report.
That's the other thing. Yep.
Cool.
And I can't remember who the host DJ was at that time, but they was just, so they had a vibe going on, which makes sense why Comedy Death Ray would slide into there.
Yeah. I do sometimes think about how wild it is, how big Comedy Bang Bang has become from the origins as Comedy Death Ray.
Yep. As an afternoon filler drive time show where it's just like, hey, do you want to host this radio hour and just have your comedy people come in and do bits? He's like, yeah, that'd be great. Or maybe we can keep it doing this improv thing and just make our own little canon in our own little world, and then do comedy the way we want. How about that?
It's just so wild.
It is pretty interesting. I'm also glad that essentially I have not heard anything bad or cancelable in regards to him, because he's one of those figures. So I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad that you're successful and you help your other friends with projects and stuff to be successful too, to a certain degree. I mean, everyone who makes a certain amount of money off other people are sort of like, raise our eyebrow a little bit, but that is also the industry. In terms, so height of parody games for the simulator series, we of course had Goat Simulator, in which you played as a goat and you were going through. Does that make it worse whenever I click on the photos? Going through a town, just bouncing around and being your amazing goat self, trying to achieve physics by going to great heights throughout the game. It was very silly and very fun.
And the rise of the simulator genre, essentially, after that, is wild. And it's interesting that it was supposed to be, it was initially intended to be like QWOP.
What's QWOP?
Huh? Oh, QWOP is
What's QWOP? I don't actually know what QWOP
a
is.
video game. It's a very, very hard video game by Bennett Foddy, who's done a lot of very weird video games. Here's the link.
Is it the
I'll
one
put it
where
in
it's the
private chat
guy
so you
in
can
a
play it.
bucket barrel and you have to like move
He made that
around
game.
that way?
It's the same.
And then
It's the same person.
Oh, okay.
But I think QWOP was like his first breakout game.
Okay, just let Missy play. Okay, is QWOP available?
Oh yeah, I
Is
posted
QWOP
a link in the
available
private
at?
chat. It's like a flash game.
Oh, okay.
It's at foddy.net/athletics.
Oh.
But yeah, he
Okay.
was finishing his dissertation on philosophy at the time he made this game.
Why can I not share that screen specifically? There we go. Okay. QWOP. So.
Oh, weird.
I'm going backwards.
They
Oh, no.
during breaks for GDQ, they have this on the screen where I think people in the audience
They're playing QWOP?
They play QWOP. They play this. I've seen this happening where I guess people I think people in chat get to decide what, or on the website get to decide what keys get pressed.
Oh, that makes sense that this would be one to like have like a Twitch plays QWOP.
Twitch plays QWOP. That's also FYI how I first discovered Twitch was from the Twitch play Pokemon.
I like remember hearing about Justin TV back when it was just a Justin wearing a camera on his head and going about his daily life.
Ah! My face.
Void got good at QWOP for a while. I never got good at QWOP.
That reminds me of one of the first games I have memories of, which are like older than my earliest memories, is we had a Commodore 64. So like since my siblings were older, they had a Commodore 64 before I then got a Nintendo. And there was an Olympics game on it, which was the pole vaulting was impossible. Like to this day, I don't think I've seen. That's not true. Seen anyone successfully get the pole vault to work. Let me see if that comes up in my search for random games I played.
QWOP is like a troll.
You know what else was a troll? This game from Parity Interactive, Microshaft Wind Blows 98.
Summer Games. Oh my god.
So hyper specific.
Flashbacks.
Yeah. It was a pre-release of Windows 98 parody of Windows 98.
I remember this. I didn't have it. I remember seeing this.
Oh, they just developed Pyst. Hey, we should. I haven't seen Argyle pop into the chat. I was kind of waiting for them. We should talk about Pyst though, because we haven't talked about Pyst, and we can look at some video of it.
Oh yeah.
I'll pull up some Pyst video. I was shocked when I learned that John Goodman was so central to Pyst.
It just sort of is like, what else was he doing at that time?
Roseanne?
Yeah. So
The Big Lebowski?
He had time. Just like
the Flintstones. I guess the Flintstones is sort of an argument in favor of it not being surprising that he wasn't Pyst.
And that was a little bit before that, yeah. But he said no to the Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas, which is the smartest decision that almost anyone in Hollywood has ever made.
And he was replaced by Robert Baratheon.
And Rick Ramirez was replaced with, I believe, Stephen Baldwin.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Harvey Korman joined the cast as the Great Kazoo.
Oh, I forgot that detail. Oh, wait. Why do I have an image in my head that it's Martin Short?
It
probably isn't.
Martin Short in real life is the Great Kazoo.
That seems very like accurate to describe them as that.
And the
my
makeup choice
word.
they did with the kazoo is also wild.
Oh, sorry, I was wrong. He's in the movie, but he's not the Great Gazoo. Who
Alan
is the Great
Cummings.
Gazoo?
Oh my god, Gazoo was portrayed by Alan Cumming,
Yeah, Alan Cumming is
That
the great
is
kazoo.
right.
host of the USA Traders. Oh no, is
And-
this where my Alan Cumming love started? I just attracted to the Great Gazoo. Is this what it is? Look at
Oh
that
my
face.
god.
Oh my word. And
I
that look at that dump truck he's carrying.
I mean, Nightcrawler also could have been it.
Well, he was Nightcrawler too. Well, now there we go.
Oh yeah.
He was also, what is it, the floopy guy with the thumb people in Spy Kids?
Oh yeah.
I still remember his theme song. It's a cruel, cruel world, all you little boys and girls, and some mean, nasty people want to eat you for their supper. But if you come with us, you can all be free. Free. You can all be free like a big, big bird on a big screen TV. And then I think it just sort of like fades out and repeats at that point. But yeah.
He's also in Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, interesting. I've never seen Eyes Wide Shut.
You've seen Eyes Wide Shut.
Not a Tom Cruise person. This is
I
Missy
mean, that's
Cannon.
famously documented on your podcast.
Yes. When we did the Tom Triangle at the summer cruise. And I believe next summer we might return to the
Well, if you do
Tom
a
Triangle.
winter cruise, you should do Eyes Wide Shut. 'cause
Ooh,
movie.
that's a good idea. A winter cruise.
Cards
I like
are
the
nested
idea of a
local
winter
variables
cruise.
in the main
We can do
program
Eyes Wide
output.
Shut.
See nested incongruities in the manual, which is not included.
I'm gonna let Alice also pick some of the other ones, so I don't want to do it. But what would be another good?
I feel like there's
Cruise
got to be a
movie
lot
that-
of movies that winter would fit in well. Rain Man.
Were
It's
they
like
aiming in the
Rain Man's
Cold
like
War,
not
maybe?
quite 'cause it's not snow.
I've also seen Rain Man though, so
Yeah.
that is one where
Cable system.
I'm controlling the transmission. Me, hacker.
I've not seen Risky
Oh, it
Business.
took me 5 days without sleep, and I burned through 3 166 megahertz processors, 4 28.8 modems, and 2 monitors.
can-
But I'm here.
You can
I'm here
tell
to tell you a very important
the audience
message.
for this game.
So shut
Yeah.
up and listen.
The
This is
peak of
for
90s
everyone.
comedy, just listing out
It's,
computer parts.
Yep.
Well, it's funny that
Easy
the
respects.
About taking a stand, or
the
or
video
or rights, or
for this
it's
is
a-
better than it
it's
was
on a
on
post-it
Mist,
somewhere
but
here.
everything else is lower quality.
This is Malcolm Bosky, the Pyst Money Man, with a super tip for all the
Wait, who is that?
Here's Bosky's 10 magic words guaranteed to bring you success in life. Ready? Here they come. Luck. Sex,
I don't know that
money,
we're gonna be able to
health,
find that,
secret,
unfortunately.
illness, power, guaranteed private.
But they are on
and special
IMDb,
edition.
so maybe
Got
we
it?
can.
If you want to sell anything in life, including yourself, use these 10 honeys and you can't lose. Here's an example. This secret
They're
limited
on there on
collector's special
IMDb, but with
edition
no one
of
credited
Elvis's
to a role
pyramid-shaped
except for
life
John
is
Goodman.
guaranteed to bring you sex,
We're gonna have to
money,
look up their
health, and
headshots
power,
one by
and
one.
It's yours for only $10. Ha ha!
Well, joke's
Hello,
on
players.
you. A lot of them don't have them.
The screen church.
Google
Big
Images
D,
exists,
Iowa.
bitch.
Friends in faith, 12 of us from the congregation
Sounds like
came
someone
down
isn't
for
committed enough to
salvation at the
stalking these
fountain,
actors.
but we haven't been saved yet. Pastor Rod Flash. The Latchmore collection of classic cyber art, Millville, New Jersey. Dear
Igor.
Mr. Latchmore, Indiana's whip got caught in the rocket ship door.
Who knew they
terrible
got Peter
impression,
Lorre?
Igor. He's not even
Did what
putting
you
in
wanted
the roughness
and
in
dug
the
up a pillar,
voice.
but I ain't got postage. What do you want me to do, boss? Igor!
What do you do?
I
Here
also
we
love when
are in the
parodies
Pillar
just use the
Garden,
name
once the
of the
most
character
classically
and don't
beautiful
even try and
location
hide it,
on the
like Igor.
island.
You know, it's
It now
literally
serves
the
as a
Igor.
Yeah.
test site for the Pyst Mumbo Jumbo TV network.
Yeah, look at that swell TV.
You can't miss it, Bob. Actually, the idea that I dropped in the Octoplex suggestion box was to transform this place into a meditation garden.
Come on, Cheryl, get over it.
I-
You know the Mumbo
I wouldn't
Jumbo
mind a
Tron has
meditation
over
garden.
2,000
This is
channels.
very obscure,
Really,
but
Bob?
I thought of
What
a
can
good
you
idea
put
for
on
a future
2,000
show.
channels?
How about
Okay.
giant tractor post and funny car
Thinking of
racing any
Igor,
time of
and
the
of course
day,
parody,
and 500
Igor, I
channels
immediately
of
thought of
bass
Igor,
fishing, just to name a few.
Oh,
young,
that
young
is
Frankenstein,
nice.
which made me lead to a question we can ask people of other collections like this, like bizarre ways that ideas came from, because Aerosmith got the idea, came up with the song "Walk This Way" because
Ooh.
of Young Frankenstein.
Weird and wacky origin stories.
Weird and wacky origin. Don't know how to describe what that is, but it just popped in my head.
I'm
That's
pretty
one
sure we
little-
just described it right now. Weird and wacky origin stories.
stories. And we're not talking about like the Phone Ranger.
The Phone Ranger?
Okay, I'm gonna
Factoid
look-
week, yeah, Factoid week.
Well, the Phone Ranger is a Marvel superhero whose name is a parody, so is technically on theme.
Okay.
Where
Are
he-
you them? Are you they?
I'm not them. They're a human being. I'm a phone.
Okay.
This is-
I don't know.
We're,
Did you,
I mean,
were you
I
a
think-
growth on him and then emerged one day? You're like released and free.
I think I inspired him, certainly.
Okay.
Can we make them the new phony?
Wow!
Phony might be kaiju. No,
I
that is disgusting to even suggest. We'll talk afterwards.
I mean, so A.G. Bell got it. Okay.
This
If only
isn't
I had a
even-
way of looking up phone numbers without using a phone.
That isn't even the best. There's another one that goes more into his powers, but basically he can connect to any communications device.
So he has the same powers as the Lawnmower Man at the end of the movie Lawnmower Man, where he fulfills his dream of ringing
Oh.
all the phones.
Wow. Speaking of Lawnmower
He's
Man,
my hero because look at this
and-
panel.
and
Too many telephones have died today. The Phone Ranger is here to avenge them.
Hell to the fucking yeah. His headquarters with Ma Bell.
nice.
Well, it looks like he might have died, so that's
Oh
unfortunate.
no!
Oh no, who fucking killed him? Let's get him.
Rip.
The screen guy.
Can we? Can somebody? And by somebody, I mean probably things from the void. Make a bumper where it's in memoriam the Phone Ranger. But also, speaking of the Lawnmower Man and how this get made movies with Pierce Brosnan, has anyone watched the newest episode? The movie for the newest episode?
I have
No.
listened to the episode about the King's Daughter. I have not watched the King's
I
Daughter.
really recommend watching that movie.
Okay.
And especially you know me, I like to go into them completely blind. And when you're just kind of like, what is this movie about? And then you're like, okay. And then you're like, well, that's not true at all. And then you're like, okay, now there's mermaids.
And isn't it just because, like, in real life, King Henry the 14th was kind of obsessed with mermaids, and they're like, let's just make that canon. Let's spin it off from there.
I don't think there's any sort of truth to it. I just feel like somebody was like, here's an idea. And then someone was like, well, what if it's the Sun King? And they're like, great, let's do it.
What if I make a Shape of Water, but like something that people can kind of deal with? It's less of a fish person and more of like, you know, a mermaid. It's a more consenting fish person.
And who should we have portray one of the most, if not the most famous French king? Pierce Brosnan.
Well, you know who the original person was?
No.
I mentioned it. Slarty Bartfast himself, Bill Nighy.
Oh, yes, right. That's right. They
Huh.
did say that.
The most British man to ever live.
Yeah.
He's incredibly British.
It's Shape of
It's
Water,
the
but people can
Shape-
deal with it.
It is less art house and more marketable, except that it wasn't. We
The
did
man
learn
they
that
put
it's-
Matt Smith in a scene with, and he somehow were like, I mean, I guess this guy's more British than Matt Smith, and it's Matt Smith is the Doctor, so he's pretty British.
oh my god. Or you can just cut him out of your movie entirely, so people don't know what your role was, except we know.
No, we know.
We know. What is the goal of Pyst exactly?
I have no idea.
So the
get
island has
pissed?
become over touristed. To quoting, let's look at the Wikipedia. Because you
Can you please look up King Mattress Hot Tub Love Cannon for me, please? Cabin. Oh,
Video?
yes, that.
So Pyst Island is full of litter. Most buildings are ruined, and graffiti reveals secret doors and solutions to puzzles that challenged players in Myst.
Are they like challenges
That
that just
doesn't
involve more
explain what the
toilets?
plot is at all.
They're like, John Goodman's in it. That's all you need to know, right? King Ralph, you love him.
All you need to do is see that title. And you're like, oh,
Pyst?
I got this game.
Yeah. And you're like, that's edgy. That's some edgy humor. I'm in the 90s and I can't handle anything
Well,
more
you
than
see, there's a game called Myst, but this
What?
one
Holy
is called
shit.
Pyst.
I had no clue. It wasn't really a parody of itself, but Space Ace was
Plex's
a game
researchers
made by...
discovered that people who go
Oh.
to the beach love the sand and the sun, but they don't like the water. By draining the ocean, we'll be providing more sand and more sun.
What happens when you want to cool off?
Not to worry, Bob. Octoplex dirigibles will fly by on an hourly basis and mist everyone.
Wow, they think of everything.
So I feel like this game's more like just a movie.
Yeah.
I was going to say that earlier. It seems like it's a lot of quick time, just movies playing over stuff that you click, which I guess maybe was also missed at the time.
Well, this is definitely
Much better.
this was
You know,
that
it's
one
very
puzzle that
stressful
we saw
being
you
the king
do.
of pain. No, the king of the game. Yes, I am the king of the game.
Oh, that is
I have
weird.
many
Daddy
secrets.
King.
For instance, I could show you a whole
He's a
other
sloppy
side
bear
of
and we
Pyst
love
Island
him.
that you've never experienced. Yes, no, yes, you haven't, and you won't, because I'm saving it for the sequel. Aren't hot tubs wonderful?
Oh, John, we have
Sit here and enjoy
terrible
the
news
fact
for you.
that you'll be leaving soon. No,
They said they were inspired by National Lampoon.
no. Now. Bye.
Bye.
I'm glad one of us is going to get a good night's sleep after this.
1 Minute Publishing Company, 127 Larks Puke Landing, Sensimilla, California. Forget about this place as a
It's
location
interesting
for
that
my
they're
physical
like,
zen
well,
on
we
a minute a
don't
day.
trust you to
If I
read for
wasn't a
yourself.
master, I'd be kicking
Hey, I
somebody's
appreciate
ass
that.
by now.
I do too, but
Master Baker.
it's just funny that that's where they're...
Player number 417-6886.
Like, actually, we're just going to innovate the game as well.
Upper, Pyst Log Cabin. Live in this single with hot tub or timeshare with 4 million visitors. Rustic
Elaine
charm with
Stickler.
indoor-outdoor local flora. All offers considered. Elaine Stickler, Pyst Real Estate.
All right, I'm going to
There's
look up these
also a
voice
whole
actors.
behind-the-scenes, like, making of
Wow.
Pyst video.
Wow.
It's too late for help. The game's over. If you wanted help, why didn't you ask earlier? People who wait too long to ask for help
I mean,
secretly
I
believe that no one wants to help
appreciate
them.
Edie
this
McClurg
because
is in
this
this?
is
Holy
just
shit.
a game
For
where
real
you
help,
click
call
stuff
our
and funny
resident
stuff
therapist,
happens.
Dr.
Yeah.
Shrimp,
And,
at 900-288
you know,
Pyst.
Oh, Phil Proctor's in
especially
this.
if
I
you're
met Phil
playing
Proctor.
Myst, you just click a bunch of stuff. Nothing funny ever happens.
Phil Proctor was part of the... he's one of the voice actors, and he's part of the Fire Sign Theater radio group. They did a lot of, like,
Oh, yeah.
experimental, trippy stuff in the 70s.
Man, I just can't change my ugly mood. Yes, I am one unhappy dude.
I mean, this is pretty good quality stuff.
Also, I just want to say, an island full of puzzles that you have to solve. Dr. Brain did it first. Oh, I tried to squeeze it in earlier. I keep forgetting to say it. Log, if there's any sort of like run that I would try to speed run, it would be any of the space quests with 100% death. It's like every death included.
Nice.
I think that's the only kind of run I would do because I can't not watch every one of those hilarious deaths.
I wonder what that current like record is.
I'm gonna look up my favorite one, which is the first game, the BGA version. It'd be very funny for Colonel's Bequest as well.
Oh, so the bumper is just like in memoriam, and then the Phone Ranger.
Someone did the text input version of Space Quest in 3 minutes and 24 seconds. Jesus Christ.
The current fastest for the Colonel's Bequest was set by Santa Claus. And it was 2 minutes and 41 seconds.
And I'm guessing can't be 100%, right?
No, that's gonna be 80%.
No, that's any percent.
Yeah.
Super Sleuth, the fastest, is 7 minutes and 11 seconds, and it was also Santa Claus.
Jesus. He popped up in some of those videos I was watching about people cheesing the early Sierra games. And then just like a really long video about the Robin Hood game that Sierra made.
Oh. The top 3 for Super Sleuth are Santa Claus with 7 minutes 11 seconds, Chuck Grody with 9 minutes and 3 seconds, and then Retro TKS.
Those are all the streamers that pop up in the videos. They are some of the best Sierra game speedrunners. They have competitions between all the. You're going to find them in every single Sierra
Santa
game.
Claus has embedded his Twitch run in his record, so you just mouse over and you can see it.
Yeah, you have to do that to get your speed run like validated. So every one of those on there is going to have a video, either Twitch or YouTube, attached as proof that yes, I fucking did it.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone today about GDQ and speedrunners in general, and it's interesting how, like 12 years ago, we just kind of like we're like, yeah, they probably did it, and then it's like no, you need to prove it, because there were some people who, believe it or not, would just lie about stuff. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that some people out there would just lie about accomplishments that they've achieved?
Well, Billy Mitchell just got his records restored by Twin Galaxies today.
I was going to bring that up. That's so wild. That whole ordeal is just wild, but that's another wormhole we can't necessarily get into unless we want to. We can always talk about whatever we want. There is another technically parody game that was like a side scroller game that also got its own TV series. Do you know
Earthworm Jim?
Yeah,
side scroller game that got its own. So it was a side scroller game first, and then it got a TV series.
Yes, and Phony got it correct. It is Earthworm Jim.
Oh, well, yes.
I mean, it had comics. Jim. It had everything.
New Junk City. Again, falls into sort of the general humor, not like a one-for-one parody necessarily, but still like within the world of what we're talking about there.
Earthworm Jim games were great.
Jim series, I never did. That was one that I just didn't have growing up.
They were really great. Yeah, they're just easy, fun to play.
I think
Phony knows. Oh, God.
If we're gonna talk parody games, one we have to mention, so is Frog Fractions.
What's Frog Fractions?
Everyone's favorite game. I don't know.
It's a rabbit hole.
The game begins by controlling a frog to eat bugs and defend fruit. Later on, the game may spend points and upgrades to improve their frog's abilities. The game does not actually teach the players about fractions. The player's score is given in fractions, but the no knowledge of them is necessary to play.
Yeah,
Okay.
It starts as just an edutainment spoof, but then goes like in just weird, surreal directions. Riley Soliner played it on an episode of Googie Morning.
Got
it. Okay.
Hex from Planet Scum was also a big fan of it. You go to Bug Court in part of it. You go to space. You go on all sorts of weird adventures.
So it's a too many cooks scenario where we're
kinda.
just everything is gonna go and stick. We're just gonna keep moving. Yeah, okay.
And then they did a sequel, Frog Fractions 2.
Do you think oh god, what's it called? The Martian game, the invasion game. Why am I blanking on it?
Red Faction?
Sorry, what?
Destroy All Humans?
Destroy All Humans, yes. That's kind of a parody. That's weird because it's a parody of B movies and is a game, but I don't know if it qualifies as a parody game in of itself.
I think Stubbs the Zombie is in a similar box with that, with Stubbs the Zombie and Rebel Without a Pulse.
We're gonna have to take all of these games to parody court and have them defend themselves and to see whether or not they are actual parody games. There's a great bit in Space Quest 4, which I won't necessarily ruin what it is because that's another game I want to run at some point, where you go into a bargain bin box and it's just a full series of parody games at the time. Like they have a sim parody game called Sim Sim, and they have a Where in the World is Carmen San Diego game where it's Where in the World is, and I can't remember the person's name, but it's just like a dork. It's I'm always fascinated by how old we're gonna make a reference and then just reference comedy was the thing. It's Star Wars, so we're going to include a Star Wars joke because you'll get the 1-for-1 on it. Or we're going to reference Star Trek and you're going to get the thing on there. That's always been a part of our culture, which is just interesting. We all have a need to want to just make fun of things that are popular.
When Doom has so many references in it.
Mm-hmm. And there was another game I wasn't allowed to play growing up because you had to fight hellspawn thingies, and that's not good.
Well,
of course, Jazz Jackrabbit also home to a lot of parody.
Oh, that's what I was going to mention. It rides a fine line of parody because it's everything in its inner canon is very silly, but it is just a side scroller shooting game. You are just playing that. You're just fighting weird enemies.
But the episode selection screen even looked like Doom.
Oh, did it really?
Version?
I didn't know that. Oh, Jazz Jackrabbit 2.
Wow.
Yes.
And Doom famously was released where the first episode was free, and then you had to pay to get any more than that.
Yeah.
It was a great little scheme that they had going. All those shareware that you got for things. I mean, it suckered me in. There were a lot of games. I mean, not suckered in a bad way, but I played a lot of shareware stuff, and then eventually saved up my money and bought full versions of those games, and very rarely regretted it.
I remember. I remember summer camp one year where one of the activities that I wanted to do as many times as I could was computer lab, and that was the summer that I learned about Doom because everyone was like, "Oh, hey, check this out," and it was like, "What?" And it just blew my mind. And then I remember actually, going out and buying, asking my parents to get me the full version of Doom and a book that had cheat codes and stuff like that in it. But what's funny is a friend of mine who I met years later, he went to that same summer camp, but a year or two after I did, and he was like, "No, they wouldn't let us play Doom." I was like, "What?" I was like, "That's how I discovered Doom." And it was I was there that golden summer where people were just like, "Hey, you should play this game," and then
someone ratted out, and their mom freaked out when they came back, and they're like, "Guess what I did? I did this game," and they're like, "Oh,
yeah.
Oh, do you know what these children are learning at your camp?" Oh.
Yeah, they could have been
I feel
playing
bad for anyone who missed out on that summer.
Poom.
Oh my god.
Which is the Doom parody in Virtual Springfield, where you play as Apu and fight people, the kids who are shoplifting, by like hitting them with a mop.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I'm gonna
Virtual
go make
Springfield. I had that game, that's for sure.
I'm gonna make a real life toilet based joke and go use the bathroom. So I will be back.
Well, Muppets Inside also had a Doom parody where you played as the Swedish chef and I think cut up food.
Wow. Well, since it's just me, I'll show Missy later. I have a friend here that I'm sure everyone wants to see.
You do? I saw you got them.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
And I didn't bring it. It's over on the shelf, but there's a tiny book that says the book of Boba Fett. Look at that craftsmanship from Jersey Dave.
That's such a good detail. The book of Boba Fett.
I also have some stuff here because I won a raffle.
It's
a
not
raffle
a raffle.
Is what I won. It's
no,
a raffle.
It's not
I won
a raffle. It's not a raffle.
I won it.
Not a raffle.
But yeah. I am afraid to do anything like take the helmet off. And it was funny because I was like, it seems like Dave did something to make this look so weird, but that's just what Sebulba looks like.
So Bulba's a real weirdo.
Yeah. Like I really did not remember him looking so weird, and then looked him up, and I was like, oh yeah, no, he's always looked so weird. I don't remember being so small.
Yeah, he's small enough that it feels natural that he's the rival of a 9-year-old boy.
Right. I think this is most accurately how he moves.
Yeah, he likes walking on his like back hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is an example from Sideshow Collectibles of his walking. It's some real 90s creature design where it's like, let's just see all the ways we can make this character articulated.
But it's really impressive. Like it looks like this is the original intention of the figure.
It does. No, he did an incredible job with it. But
Like,
someone else did an incredible job with something else.
That was exactly what I wanted, and so much better.
That was from Things from the Void.
That is great. Please make sure to play that bumper forever. Every I love it. It'll always remind us how the Phone Ranger is not our mascot.
No, I am. And we talked earlier about how the Chex Quest, is it a parody game? Or is it just a game set in the serious universe of Chex?
I mean, it's certainly a copycat game.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a total conversion. It is literally a Doom mod. What's Mario up to now?
I'm watching Mario 2. Oh, I'm watching the recap today. So I'm watching the recap stuff that I haven't seen. And they're covering a Mario 2 run from the Haxor. Which Mario 2 is a parody of another game. We're getting really loose with the word parody.
Yeah,
but
it's a parody of a game made to show off Samsung products at an expo in Japan.
That's right. And they're our sponsors.
As always. Well, and it's interesting that there's not more Mario parodies in like gaming, like officially. I guess
well,
Nintendo's probably just very litigious.
I mean, Nintendo. You don't want to piss Nintendo off.
Yeah.
Not a parody. I just keep thinking of clones of games.
What about the X-Fools?
What's that?
The X-Fools. The spoof is out there.
I'm just keep thinking of games I played like in 1995 that I have no proof from anyone else that anyone else played these games, because I remember it was a Doom clone, but you were like a warlock and you shot like magic out of your hand, but it had looked like more accurately, it was probably a Wolfenstein clone, actually.
Just like GW Thistleforp.
Hexen?
Was Hexen? I don't think so.
Or a game
like probably Hexen. A game like it. I mean, that's the thing. There's so many of these games. Let me. Oh no, the game I'm thinking of is not as graphically inclined.
Is it nowhere near as extreme?
It's nowhere near as extreme.
Look at this. This is 90s as hell. Potatoes Molasses doesn't remember playing any spoof games, just like Flash Joke games where there's a jump scare.
Although this game Hexen came out in 95, which is the exact year I said, and it is an id Software game.
It might be Hexen.
I feel like what I played was someone's like shareware demake version of Hexen.
One, Phil Spencer wore a Hexen shirt at a gaming event in 2023. So who knows? Maybe Hexen's coming back.
I think Commander Keen is technically parodies of B movies and are kind of comedy. So I think it sort of is a parody game, but not in of itself. It's weird. That draws the line.
I think so. No, I think it counts. I think it totally counts.
Just speaking of shareware ones, I think it was the fourth one, The Secret of the Oracle. You could basically play all the way through, or most of the way through. But then you had to buy the rest of the episodes. And you were paying like $50 in 1990s money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Miss, while you were gone, I showcased.
Oh yeah.
I showcased my new friend.
I saw. I love him.
Is Mutant League Football a parody? There's definitely the names are definitely parodies.
Ooh. Well, what about
like Bones Jackson?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if League parody is also just sort of like trying to skirt by the law, but have like a serious game in of itself. I've never played it.
Scary Ice instead of Jerry Rice.
I guess it's not. Again, I just keep thinking of games. They're just like other versions of game, but just remind me of NFL Blitz.
NFL Blitz, I think, is sort of parody-ish.
It's like a send-up or something, yeah.
Yeah, because it is just like, hey, football physics in Madden, what if, like, everything was a cheat code and you could just do, like, the stupidest shit that you want to do that's against the rules of football?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting breaking news.
It's so good.
But yeah, it's just like arcade football. But you can tackle the incredible... Like, I can play as Raiden and tackle people.
So now they're talking about the recap from when they did the Bluey game.
I'm sorry you had to find out this way. Well, have a partner.
But at least you had a really good beat behind the message so that you knew. And now you have a catchy little song to always remember.
I think it's really interesting that, like, It feels like in the 90s there were 2 developers who were really behind that big spoof boom.
Yeah, they just saw the money and ran with it.
Yeah, and only for about 10 years, and then it all kind of fell apart.
Even Sierra got into it with Leisure Suit Larry, which was essentially like,
yeah,
it was its own world, but it was sort of like using adventure game mechanics, and the goal is just to like have sex because you're skeevy, and then filled with like rude jokes the whole way through. And so it's like, okay, it's a comedy game, and it's sort of a parody of your goals within other stuff, but like, I think you just want to be a pervy engineers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know. There's actually a really new game that is actually kind of a perfect example of a parody game.
Oh, do tell.
And it's called Yeah, You Want Those Games Right? So here you go. Now let's see you clear them.
What? Okay, what is this game?
And it's a parody. It's what if all those mobile game ads were actual games?
Oh my god.
Wait, are they not actual games?
I think
that's fucked a great.
They often don't have a strong resemblance to the real game they're advertising.
Right.
It's such a good premise.
That is pretty.
It looks like that person's thinking about Samsung.
It does.
Samsung.
Samsung.
They're loyal to the Samsung family here.
And A Bard's Tale kind of is an early parody game.
I was wondering that they listed that as parodies, and I never really played them. And I'm like, is it sort of a parody of like D&D?
I think it's like more a spoof of, like at the time, probably Ultima.
Oh, what's Ultima?
Because Ultima was one of the first like top like medieval games. It was created by Lord British.
That the person's name is Lord British.
Yeah. Well, his nom de game.
Oh.
Is Richard Garriott, whose dad was also an astronaut. And he became a space tourist.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't Lord British. It was like you could never kill Lord British, but someone did, and they got banned forever.
In Ultima Online.
The story, yeah.
Ultima Online.
I think so, yeah.
That's all. It's so funny because that's all I know, and I heard Lord British, and I was like, "Oh, I know that."
Yeah,
this
Ultima
is like knowing
Online.
the identity of the banker or the Stig in Top Gear. Like this is peeling the layer back one too many, and I didn't even know until after I was told.
Yeah, it started on like DOS, and then Ultima Online was a very early MMO in the 90s.
I remember
where you could just kill people and rob them.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you could rob their houses if they weren't locked.
Mm-hmm.
And being like, you should get it, and I never got into those games. I just remember being like, wow, you can play a game online with other people.
Mm-hmm. I was scared because other people online are strangers, so you don't really know what can happen.
I didn't play it a ton, but I liked it because I think you had to have PvP on, and I didn't want PvP because I was a child and not as good at the game as any of the very dedicated adults.
That's true.
Not a shock, considering what we've already talked about a bunch tonight. But the only game I played online in the 90s was Doom.
I didn't know that Doom had an online mode either.
Well, you had to call the other person's computer.
Oh my god. Remember, kids these days, they're not going to appreciate when you had to call to access the internet and no one else could call back in. So you had to make sure that your parents.
It wasn't that you played it online. It was your computer called their computer, and you were both able to play the game at the same time, which is what the internet is, just for everyone.
I remember having to manually type in the IP addresses to Jedi Knight servers.
Yeah.
There's a great question from a whom named Maddie. Is Trombone Champ considered a parody? And
yeah.
Yeah, because it's basically Guitar Hero, but trombone.
Yeah, I would say truth.
Woo, I might refer to this as tooting. Now that's parody. Now that's what I call parody.
That seems very parody.
So someone should release. Now that's what I call parody CD, but it's a CD-ROM, so it's a shareware CD of all of those '90s games we were just talking about.
Remember Enhanced CD?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How Weird Al would like bundle videos on his albums when you bought them?
Mm-hmm.
That was just cool. There's not anything to add to that.
There are some like accidental like PlayStation Easter eggs where you can, if you like put that in your computer.
Yeah.
Usually it's stuff that they forgot to remove, and then you just add it on there.
Oh, I'm remembering a game.
Yeah, that's
now.
what I'm thinking of. There's like a full half-hour special.
Yeah, I think it was originally like a special that aired maybe on Disney or something that they put on there. But yeah, it was a full just like fake behind the scenes stuff that also included like his real life parents playing his parents too on there. And then I think it was Straight Out of Linwood had music videos for every song on the album that you could put in, but I can't remember if that was a separate CD or if that was a part of the actual CD. I think it was part of the enhanced CD. But there's a game I remember that is technically a parody, I think, of Chess Master, which was the Battle Chess series.
Oh yeah!
As soon as you said that, I was like, Battle Chess, of course.
Yep.
I had Battle Chess.
I loved Battle Chess.
And it would take forever for those pieces to move.
Oh my god, yes. But also I had the enhanced CD one for it. So I had like voice acting and everything. It was amazing. And I loved it because it taught me chess like well enough, but also the most tempting part was like, I haven't seen this animation yet. Like I haven't seen this character, kill this character yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a worse move for myself just so that like the pawn can take the knight and I can see that death sequence.
That was Lego chess for me. Which was the same thing, but with Lego characters.
So important information for this crowd. It looks like in around 3 hours from now, they'll be playing a game called Sneak King. And it looks like there's an incentive of which costume to wear. And as a result, you can make sure that they wear the Burger King costume.
Which Burger King?
How are these fucking streams crossing? The Burger King costume?
But which Burger King?
Oh.
What do you think? The one based off the other. It's either the redone plastic Hollywood version. You fuckface. Why are his eyes doing that?
See, the plastic one's eyes don't do that.
So I'm going to say...
He's looking directly in the camera, and somehow his eyes are still just both going whoop. Go ahead. Sorry, Block.
I think he's the one who was a magician, so...
So, spoiler alert, I just this moment made this decision. Put that picture back up. If you can't, do it, Phony.
I'm doing it.
Do it.
I'm looking up that creepy magician who was the 1970s Burger King.
This is important. This is expanding on Missy's nemesises. The two so far, the Burger King and Kate Berlant.
Yeah, this is the Marvelous Burger King. It's like the sensational Spider-Man.
So the spoiler is, I think I just came up with my next Halloween costume.
I think my issue is how much queer baiting he's just putting into that persona. He's just stealing our culture.
I love that idea, Blog.
I do too. Genuinely, I thoroughly encourage this. We should do it doesn't really talk about it, but I want to do an elaborate Halloween costume as well. So we'll have to talk about who I'm going to be.
I mean, we do all creepy.
Oh, I know. No, I already know who I'm going to be. I will talk to Phony and you offline about it. But I know someone within the canon of Missed Calls and Grand Trivia that would be amazing if I could pull off. So we'll talk later. Go ahead. But yes, Blog.
No, I'm just being the king.
Oh, here's fine. There's also a famous memed game that was sort of like a stunt, and it's weird because it was a corporate game, but yet also it was a game. We're of course talking about I Love You, Colonel Sanders, the dating simulator game where
Wow.
you seduced hot Colonel, and you try and do it, and it was part of KFC's marketing campaigns in 2015. Their strategy to make the Colonel a part of pop culture.
Fluval and
That's
intern
when-
Christie played that on stream.
Yes, it's. Did you get off with the Colonel?
No,
Did you lick the grease
they
off his
they
fingers?
transcended lowly humanity before they got off with the Colonel and became a cosmic being beyond the concept of getting off.
I believe that's
Is that
also
an
when-
actual canonical thing you can do? Because
That
I
is the
believe you
actual
right now.
canonical ending that they got when they played it.
I am. That is so appropriate. It's like they wrote it for you.
It's definitely not that they saw an out and were bored of the game.
That's true too.
I believe that was also from the time period where they foolishly did not offer Connor Ratliff the opportunity to be Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, I believe that's true. He was
Yeah.
Colonel Sanders briefly on the Gethard show, but then
Now, this is amazing that you mentioned we get to Colonel Sanders because we can now have a chance to share its own Wikipedia section, the PETA satire.
oh, of course.
Pokemon Black and Blue, Gotta Free 'Em All.
Ah!
Super Chick Sisters. It's related to KFC. They had a Super Mario parody where you have to skin a Tanuki in order to get its powers, and I think it's pretty brutal. But yes, they had like a whole series of just parody flash games that they made in order to get people to not eat chicken.
The one that blew my mind was Super Tofu Boy.
Yes.
They're like, oh, we're gonna do a Super Meat Boy
That's
parody.
Also, again, very relevant to us. Guess what the next game they're running is? Oh, and right now they've got the QWOP. They've got the QWOP thing with the guy running.
Oh no! Fuck my face. Well, we knew that earlier. You mentioned that.
So they got that up there, but that's not what I was going to say.
Are they
is
playing
guess what
Super
game-
Tofu Boy
Guess what game is going to be run next on GDQ?
before sneaking?
What?
Doom from 2016. But
Hey.
still,
Oh,
but
the
still,
new Doom.
Doom 2016. And then after that is Beetlejuice. Apparently, a game Beetlejuice.
I heard it was a bold departure from the original source material.
I mean, it wouldn't be Beetlejuice if it wasn't.
Oh.
It's this.
Oh
joke,
yeah, and so in the chat,
this
I've got
joke.
chat. People in the chat are typing QWONP. So the chat does determine the QWOP game.
The video game
circle.
just featured a lot more hand jobs than you expected when you first got it. Never gonna get tired of that joke. Never will get tired of it. If I were the writers of the tour, I would ask for permission to somehow write that in.
I mean, they've gotta. You'd think they have to.
One of my favorite little nuggets about the Avenue Q is at the end there's a segment where the song is called Only for Now, and in the album they say George Bush, he's only for now, but then when he wasn't president they had to switch it up. So when we went to Minnesota one time it was BP because it was right around the oil spill time.
Oh.
And then when we saw the local production of it, they named our local governor Kim Reynolds, and it got a big whoops and hollers.
Oh, it was Fox News when Single Walk Run saw it.
I
So
will
now I'm watching
actually-
a Butterfinger commercial, which had Tifa from
Final Fantasy VII?
Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's smart to use the regional bits.
Mm-hmm. So Missy is probably going to have to miss 2 weeks in a row in February because I'm going to be gone for LA for one. But the second part is I got asked to do a reading of a play, which would be the Monday after, like the week after. And I have a rehearsal on Wednesday, so it's just a reading, so I might be able to get on it. But I play a pretty big part. I play a gay son. You know, that's going to be a hard stretch for me to pull off, who's a drama teacher. And he's incredibly empathetic to the point where one of his dilemmas he has to figure out is that he cast all 100 kids who auditioned for The Crucible in the play. And so he's having to like figure out how to be, you know, inclusive and get them all in there. I'm just forgetting the name of the play. It might be Grand Designs.
That's so cool. Congratulations.
Thanks. So yeah, I just might have a little rehearsal for it.
Nice. Well, we'll figure out something.
Yeah.
And I might, if I can do it, there might be an illegal stream of the reading on my Twitch account.
Oh.
Just a one and done little, you know, watch Missy do some acting.
And I just shouted out Missy
I'm told my
information.
presence is, I'm just sorry, I haven't read the script, but I'm told my presence is significant, so that'll be fun.
Oh, that's the best kind of presence. But yeah, I did a shout out to Missy's channel, so it's easier for you to follow Missy and watch the stream.
I owe which I'll have to talk with Captain Emily about, another follow-up stream for Star Wars Infinity, because I'm having way too much fun with that. I want to play it by myself, but I'm like, no, be disciplined, just like Baldur's Gate. Wait for the stream, wait for your friends to see what happens too.
It was fun watching that original, or I guess again, listening to that original stream for Red Shart's play Star Trek Infinite.
Mm-hmm. We built, spoiler alert, we built the Enterprise at the very end.
Yeah.
And then realized the Romulan planet might blow up. So we're doing the best we fucking can to absorb their empire so we can go, send a ship, don't die, people.
So you might be in the Kelvin timeline.
I might be. I think the replay is up, so you can watch it.
I know it's Vulcan that blows up, but it's the closest thing I can think of.
Yeah, I know. So, well, that storyline it is the catalyst for the J.J. Abrams movies, but it is in the Prime universe.
You're right. It's not in the Kelvin timeline. It's just the catalyst for Nero going back in time and starting the Kelvin timeline.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's all stuff that, you know, when
apparently that's canon in this game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's definitely canon.
This world now.
Oh, right, because Romulus is what blew. Yeah, and then in the Kelvin universe, Vulcan blows up.
Yeah. Thanks, JJ. Yeah, so as a result, you know, when they had to kind of come back with Star Trek stuff, they were like, well, I mean, we have to.
Aren't they doing, like another one in that universe next?
That's what they're saying.
What they're saying, but I don't think so. Well, they always say that they will, but there's no way. There's no way we're going to get another Calvin movie. I would be shocked if we get another Calvin movie.
I don't think we'll get another Calvin movie. I think most of them have better things to do now, and you can't have, and Chekhov can't be in it, which would be so sad.
Yes.
Oh, that's true.
We have better actors playing those characters now in other projects.
Well, yeah, we have some great actors playing those characters now in other Treks. Chris Pine feels more like Kirk to me than Strange New World's Kirk, but
I do like Chris Pine a lot as Kirk. It's kind of weird. I don't know why. I feel like he kind of shouldn't work, but does.
I like Chris Pine in pretty much anything he's in, though.
True. I think that's why. I think I'm just charmed by him.
Yeah.
And Zachary Quinto as well. I think I am just obviously very pulled toward him.
I feel like
I love him scoop my brain.
I feel like Avatar killed. Like it's wild remembering that was like one of Zoe Saldana's big breakouts with Star Trek, and then it's just like, and then Avatar, and then Guardians, and it will
Like
Star Trek will not
1-2.
be the first thing that comes to mind for her ever again.
But yeah, I would be shocked if they do another movie. It's been more time than we've ever had a Star Trek movie. I keep saying the only reason you should do another Star Trek movie is if you let Quentin Tarantino make the Star Trek movie.
I mean, speaking of parody stuff, it'd be
Pulp
great to get
Fiction.
a Lower Decks film.
Oh yeah, I'd be good with
Well, and also it depends what you mean by a film, because we already know that Star Trek are going to be making films instead of some films instead of shows, which I think is a great idea. Like the Section 31 show was originally going to be a show. Now it's going to be a movie, which I think is great. Not everything needs to be a multi-episode, multi-season thing. If it's just 2 hours of something, then just do it. Just do 1 2-hour thing of it.
Yeah, literally just take whatever time that you need to do it, and that's it.
Yeah. And then also, when your main actress wins an Academy Award,
Oscar,
maybe you can't pay her for as much time as you were originally planning to do.
She might be a bit more in demand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
She's too busy being, spoiler for the Poirot universe, a murder victim in a big film.
So if they make a Kelvin movie like that, where they're like, we're making so much Star Trek stuff that we just so happen to make this, that's the only way I think it could be done.
Star Trek and the Multiverse of Madness. It's all true.
And so, if the original idea for the fourth Kelvin movie, if they ever are planning to do that original idea, was supposed to be just like the other ones mirror their counterparts. It was supposed to be a time travel adventure.
Oh,
with Daddy Kirk.
They were trying to get Chris Hemsworth back?
With Chris Hemsworth. And that was part of the reason why the movie never got made, because Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth were just way too much money for them to really do the movie, and then they just stopped doing the movie. And
we're closing in on the 10-year anniversary of Star Trek Beyond, so
yeah,
in 2026 that'll be 10 years ago.
Yeah, and
Into Darkness
as much as I criticize
last year,
the JJ movies, that one is good, and that's because it's mostly Simon Pegg who did that one.
Well, and he didn't, and JJ didn't even direct that one.
And that, yeah.
Who did direct that one?
Oh, Justin
Lin.
Justin Lin.
Oh, that's right. Fresh off of The Furious.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one.
But we've been rewatching the original series, and it's very fun. It's so good.
Do you know what's great about the original series? Is that sometimes it's almost a parody of itself.
Yeah.
Because in this last episode that we watched, I won't spoil which one coming up, they basically casually introduced ancient alien theory, and they're just like, oh, guess that's the thing that happened. And then no one is thinking, no one, I guess, ever then bring that up in a future episode, being like, hey, remember when Greek gods came and they were real, but they were aliens? Is that part of our history? Anyone else want to just talk about this and existentially think what that means? No, we're good. Okay.
Well, the funniest thing about those episodes of Star Trek, which there are a lot of them in the original series, is what's interesting is I guess they thought parallel universes were like too bizarre of a thing. So you often hear they do the multi-Earth theorem, where they're just like, well, space is so large that, of course, there are planets that just were exactly like Earth.
Yeah. But statistically, it's going to happen.
But something different happened, which is so weird, because I think sci-fi nowadays is like, no, a parallel universe makes more sense than another planet in our galaxy just having the exact same Greek gods
Mhm.
as us.
Or Romans who worship the U.S. Constitution as their holy text.
Wait, what? Oh, I can't wait to get across this. I don't know what that is, but that's going to be
Oh,
fucking
man.
fascinating.
And
That
I
sounds
will
like that's like a Carmen Sandiego plot.
And I will vaguely describe what might be my favorite episode of the original series, which is a whole society that finds a random book, and that book shapes their whole society.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Sorry for
excited
that
it.
spoiler, Missy.
No, that's fine. Because I don't know which episode it is.
Yeah,
but that's
it's also
a
one of those
fun
things
premise.
that it's just there are several episodes that you could think that you're talking about
That's
because
true.
of how similar.
I mean, I got spoiled about when the episode I was watching was going to be about when Spock fucks, or doesn't. He gets cocked actually, and I still enjoyed that one immensely. So sometimes the spoilers are just fine.
You have two options, and he chose the one that was not fucking.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, it was because the other person was like, I'm really not interested. Can we just
I'm not going to do it.
And this amicably versus like having to go through this like arranged marriage bullshit that we're both over? Because I know Spock, you already have true loves, and it's Jim Kirk and Bones McCoy, your bromance, your non-sexual throuple, where you all are just so reliant on each other. That's one of my base theories in Red Shirts. If you're not listening, you're missing out. It's
You're
amazing.
not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong.
And Kirk is married to the Enterprise. It's his wife. He is married to that ship.
He loves like a woman.
And the Enterprise is absolutely fine with Jim having other lovers because she's had a lot of people inside her too.
Yeah, she's fine with him boldly going.
Yes.
God damn
it. That's great.
I will continue to say that my favorite thing about the original series is the Bones Spock dynamic.
Oh yes, they're so interesting.
Those two
they nag each other a lot.
Which is another reason why Star Trek Beyond is really good, because it's a parallel to Star Trek 3, which also kind of heavily explores that dynamic. And so you get a Kelvin movie with that dynamic. And
now,
that's good.
We are approaching 0 hour here. And I do think it's appropriate when we're talking about Star Trek to mention there is one parody game that does exist for it. It is one letter away from the amazing name that we came up with. It is a game called Red Shirt. But the premise of it sounds actually not fun. It was a social media game where the player controls a new character on a fictional space station in the future who is obsessed with Spacebook, a satire of Facebook. Oh, really? I couldn't have gotten that Wikipedia by myself. The player's character interacts with people and things on the ship through the Spacebook. As players interact with the environment, they gain interests and skills which help them advance through the game. So it's just like the worst part of our media, which is like influencer stuff. And then also Star Trek, I guess, layered on top of it. No, thank you. I'm good. Also, I need to figure out, is the Star Trek Online game that people want me to try at some point the 2012 one? Or is there like a new game coming out that I don't know about? Like people need to tell me what this Star Trek game is, and I will delve into it.
I assume it's the online one.
It's the 2012 one.
Okay, cool. Cool.
They just still support it.
That's actually really interesting. I was going to say, if it's still supported, Captain Emily, we might have to have some fun online.
Who's Captain Emily?
Another intern.
Another intern.
And I'm so excited for them because this sounds amazing.
Yes. Let's talk about comedy. You got the Commedia dell'arte, as we know from Studio 60, one of the funniest forms of comedy.
Of course. And speaking of parody, can you see which iconic comedy stewardess who I am parodying with this look? This extremely recognizable look?
Oh no, I'm getting face blindness. I'm fucked. What is it?
Are you Charlie Chaplin?
I'm
Are
not
you
Charlie Chaplin. I have
Lucille
no
Ball?
Hitler stash.
Are
I am
you Buster?
Lucy.
Okay, I thought so.
I am Lucy. I was like looking at her and I'm like, oh, all she does is eyelashes and red lips. Like that's not gonna work because I do not have a wig.
I also want to address
had...
Howdy Partner's comment because they described Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane as marvelous, and I thought it was very funny.
That's amazing.
So I thought we had two Marx brothers. I thought that you were Harpo.
Oh yeah,
I was going with Zeppo.
Because I get Harpo. And,
I wouldn't want to be part of a club.
There was an episode of I Love Lucy where Harpo and Lucy did the mirror thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's one of the best bits
I remember
ever.
that. I've seen that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. Does he have like an extremely recognizable look?
Harpo?
Kind of in terms of like the
Again,
wig.
it's the
yeah,
wig.
the wig's
the wig
the
and the
big
hat.
thing.
Yeah.
Or just hair. I don't know if that's actually his actual hair or a wig, but either way.
I think it's a wig. Wow. My God. What comedy? What comedy?
At the end of the day, I just know that I am pissed off by all these parodies. There's just so many of them making fun of all these fabulous games. But is parody art? Is comedy art? We'll have to answer that with trivia questions soon. Oh, I'm getting the floor here. Oh no, I'm gonna get my own. I'm gonna be like the top of Studio 60. Comedy these days, and everyone with the media and the wars and the politics, and they're trying, but they're not changing. They're just wanting laughs in little parody games. You want a game based off Manos, The Hands of Fate. You want a Monty Python game called Monty Python's Complete Waste of Time. You want a canceled Penn and Teller game called Penn and Teller's Spoken Mirrors, which included a game called Desert Bus, which was literally a bus simulator in which you had to drive an 8-hour in real-time bus drive from Las Vegas, I believe, to Tucson, Arizona.
That one's playable.
And the vehicle constantly shifts to the right.
Yeah.
I love it. Balog Pissin, what are your final words?
What are your final words? And what's your topic next week?
Great question about the topic for next week.
Yes, it was.
Someone suggested one. I think Things from the Void.
Should we do the factoids?
The weird origins.
Weird
Origins was thrown out there. Weird and Wacky Origin Stories was thrown out.
Oh, we could do that one.
It goes along with factoids.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's go for it. Weird and Wacky Origin Stories.
Weird and Wacky Origins.
Weird and Wacky Origins.
My final words are, I never thought that I could be over the hills in ecstasy, but I won a raffle.
No, oh my God. Yay.
Yes!
You are a raffle winner. Not a raffle. You are not a raffle winner.
You won.
The Wacky Ticket Reunification Game.
You reunited a ticket.